Welcome to Edupedia world. In this video, we will discuss about mode and its features. Mode is another important measure of central tendency, which is conceptually very useful. Mode is the value occurring most frequently in a set of observations and around which other items of the set cluster most densely. Sometimes you may be interested in knowing the most typical value of a series or the values around which maximum concentration of item occurs. For example, a manufacturer would like to know the size of shoes that has maximum demand or style of the shirt that is more frequently demanded. Here mode is the most appropriate measure. The word mode has been derived from the French word la mode, which signifies the most fashionable values of a distribution because it is repeated for the highest number of times in the series. Thus, mode is the value which occurs the largest number of times in a series. Let's take an example of a shoes. If a shoe size of 10 people is 8, 9, 7, 9, 10, 9 and so on, mode can be conveniently found by arranging the observation in an ascending order. When we arrange these observations in ascending order and counting the number of items each observation occur, mode size of shoe is 9 as it occurs the maximum number of times. That is 4 times when we take the observation of 10 people. So 9 is the mode for this particular illustration. Mode is the most frequently observed data value. In other words, mode is that value which occurs the maximum number of times. Next point is that mode is a position of greatest density or a point of highest concentration of value. Next, mode is the most common value found in a series. And the last thing is that mode is denoted by the alphabet Z. Next is definitions of mode. Let us discuss some of the important definitions of mode. First is in the words of A.M. Tuttle, mode is the value which has the greatest frequency density in its immediate neighbourhood. One more definition is that in the words of Croxton and Cowden, mode of a distribution is the value at the point around which the items tend to be most heavily concentrated. So we can sum up that mode is extensively used to measure taste and preferences of people for a particular brand of the commodity. And in the case of frequency distribution, mode is determined by the value corresponding to maximum frequency. Next we come to features of mode. Some of the important feature of mode is that first, mode is preferable to mean and median when it is desired to know the most typical value. For example, the most common size of shoes, the most common size of a ready-made garment, the most common size of pocket expenditure of a student, the most popular candidate in an election, etc. Next is a distribution can either be uni-modal, bi-modal or multi-modal. However, if each observation occurs the same number of times in a series, then there is no mode in that distribution. No modal value is when each observation occurs the same number of times in a series. Uni-modal, when one item occurs the maximum number of times. Bi-modal, when two items have the same maximum frequency. And multi-modal, when more than two items have the same maximum frequency. This is the important features of mode. Mode with frequency curve. If the nature of mode is to be explained graphically, it is obvious that the mode would be the point of maximum frequency, which is indicated by the peak of a frequency curve. In the given diagram, x-axis denotes the value of variable and y-axis the corresponding frequencies. Mode is that value on the x-axis which correspond to the maximum frequency on the y-axis. Next, we will discuss merits of mode, and our first point is simplicity. It is very easy and simple to calculate. It can be calculated without much mathematical calculation. In an individual and discrete series, mode can be found out through inspection. Second point, not affected by the values of extreme items. It is not affected by values of extreme items. It can be calculated even if these extreme observations are not known. Similarly, it is not affected by very small values also. Mode does not require the use of extremely small values, hence is not affected by very small values of the series. Third point, possible in case of open-end series. It can be determined in open-end distributions without ascertaining the class limits. Fourth point, useful for both quantitative and qualitative data. Mode can be used to describe quantitatives as well as qualitative data. For example, its values is used for comparing consumer preferences for various types of products, say TV, soaps, toothpaste or other products. Fifth point, graphic determination. It can be determined graphically through histogram. And the last point is representative value. Mode is a value around which there is more concentration of observation and hence it is the best representative of the data. These are some of the merits of mode. Next we come to demerits of mode, and our first point is mode is not rigidly defined. Mode is not a rigidly defined measure as there are several methods for calculating its value. It is uncertain in the cases when there is irregular series given. Mode is not always an exact value. Second point, not based on all the observation of a series. The value of mode is not based on each and every item of the series. It is not a representative value of the series because it ignores extremely small values of the series. Third point, not capable of algebraic treatment. Mode is not suitable for further mathematical treatment. For example, from the model values and the sizes of two or more series, we cannot determine the overall mode of the combined data. Next point, difficult to identify. It is difficult to locate mode in case of bi-modal and multi-modal distributions. Next point, affected by the fluctuations of sampling. As compared to mean, mode is affected to a great extent by sampling fluctuations. And the last point is difficult to calculate. Calculation of mode through grouping method is very difficult as it involves preparation of grouping and analysis table. So these are some of the demerits of mode. Thank you for watching Edupedia World videos.